Hey everyone, welcome to Watch It Paint It. This video is super simple, super straightforward. We have finished unboxing the complete set of speed paint and got all the colours out, give them a quick test on those pot toppers, on those little bits of plastic stuck to the top of the pot. So we know what they roughly look like, but now let's test some stuff in anger and actually apply it to a real life situation, a real miniature life situation, and put some of those colours on a miniature. We're going to start off with one of the colours that Watch It Paint It ourselves developed, and that is Blinding Light. We always felt there was a need for a brighter, whiter white, and that's what we've gone for with Blinding Light. So I think it's time to paint ourselves up a white ultramarine. Let's just go and jump straight to it. So we're going to take our Spacemarine and we're going to apply 2 thin coats of Army Painter's matte white primer. 2 thin because we want to get it as bright white as we can, and one's normally not quite enough to get its full potential in brightness. And then we're actually going to apply straight away a semi-gloss varnish. We're going to use Army Painter's Aegis Silk, and that's going to give it a little bit of shine, which is going to help take that speed paint actually more into the recesses, less on the raised bits, which I think is going to be good for a marine, and especially because we want to do this white and we very much don't want any of that graying it down. So we're going to move this Blinding Light quickly and evenly, I guess, all over the miniature. I'm going to keep it kind of thin here because I would like as much of the white shining through. There's loads of flat panels on the Spacemarine, and really it's kind of difficult to use contrast / speed paint. So yeah, I'm going to keep it thin in this instance because I just want the white to shine through as much as possible, make it look more highlighted and less grey, because that's obviously what contrast and speed paints are. They're a light grey, and that needs to pull away and leave the white showing through. You want to concentrate on one panel at a time. Make sure you get good coverage. Just even coverage is the most important thing to do here. Do one panel and then move on to the next. Just work your way around, finding all the bits of his armor, all the bits that need to be white. Apply a nice thin layer of this, and then we'll set it to one side to dry and see how he looks. So that's the white finished, Blinding Light applied everywhere it needs to be, and it's pretty good for a couple of minutes work. That is not too shabby. It is a little bit grey, but that's how these paints work, and this is the best I've got so far, having used the previous Holy White as well as the Apothecary White in the contrast range. So this is the lightest of the 3. Now we're still waiting for it to dry a little bit, but what I'm going to do, and this is completely up to you guys, but I'm going to dry brush on a little bit of white just on the very most raised edges, you know, the tops of his knees, the edges of his shoulder pads, the back of his bum plate, just the very, very obvious, very strong edge highlights, basically just doing a very small dry brush, very light, very small, just to bring back a bright white finish on some of the most raised edges. Now, by all means, if you're happy enough with it looking a little bit grey, skip this step. It's going to save a lot of time not doing it. Maybe paint one up to see how it looks. Once it's completely complete, that grey is going to look a little bit less grey. It'll be much closer to white once you've got some blacks and some reds on this white scar. But yeah, for me, just a very, very small, quick dry brush. I'm not going to spend too long on this because I don't want to take too much away from that very fast speed paint. Now we've spent a couple of minutes. I honestly did not want to spend long on that because I want to make this paint job fast, and that is the point of it. But after getting the white a little bit brighter in some areas, we're going to go around now with black, grim black, another speed paint. This is all for the soft areas, all those rubber bits between his armor plates. We're just going to reach in there with a small brush, try and get in there and try and make those black, and then we're going to start seeing this miniature come together now with some different colors. The white's going to look much more white. Should mention his gun as well. So white scar, I'm going to do his gun black and silver, so we'll get some grim black on his gun. With the black all complete now, we're going to paint some of the other details, and we're going to use blood red, the bright red from the speed paint range. And for this, we're going to go paint around the edges of his shoulder pad as well as the insignia across his chest. I'll also be painting his helmet in red because this is a sergeant after all. One question to you guys: why do some of the white scars have red shoulder edges and some are white? What's correct? I could not tell from the old interwebs. I wanted to do mine red because I thought it added a little bit more colour to it, a little bit more interesting, but it also kind of, I don't know, looks a bit tackier. They don't look as uniform and sexy with the red shoulders. So yeah, if anybody knows, let me know in the comments, please. Then we're going to try and attempt some squad markings on his knee and his leg. May or may not be the best thing to use speed paint for, but I want the colour to match exactly, and I'll just try and be careful while I do the freehand. For the next bit, we're going to paint his face. And for this, we're going to use Peachy Flesh, a new speed paint in the Speedpaint 2.0 range. It's a very light, peachy. It's all in the title of the paint, isn't it? But it's going to give him a little bit of a flesh tone to his face. With the little buttons on his wrist pad, I'm going to just take 4 of the brightest speed paints and dab 1 on each button. Super easy bit of detail next, and this is going to be painting up the seal on his leg. For the actual wax bit, I'm going to use a new speed paint color, Speedpaint 2, and this is going to be Murder Scene. It's a very deep red, almost purpley. It's beautiful for wax. And then for the actual scroll scripty little bit, I'm going to use another new color. In fact, one designed by Watch It Paint It ourselves and added to the new speed paint range. This is Rigor Mortis. With all the matte colors complete, we're going to head out into the garden next and give this a quick coat with a matte varnish just to lock in all of those colors. Couple of reasons for doing that right now is, one, I want to start applying the decals, and I'm going to use some decal softener, and I just don't want to cause any bleed, which that can do. It's basically vinegar, isn't it? And it will possibly reactivate the paint slightly, although white on white won't be too big a deal. But anyway, the second reason, I'm going to move on to using some metallics, and I don't like to apply matte varnish on top of the metallics because it just dulls them down quite a bit. So off camera, I've just added a couple of decals. You've got the White Scar logo, what's that called, emblem there on his left shoulder, and I just added this little up arrow just to make him a little bit more jazzy. They've got some decal softener on, that's just drying the third coat of that, so hopefully that will get nice and thin and start blending them into the shoulder pads. Now going forwards, we're going to start applying some metallics. Again, we're going to use speed paint because Speed Paint 2.0 has metallics. Now they're only 2-tone, they don't do the 3. You only really get sort of a mid-tone and the recess shading. You don't really get the highlights for free, but I still think it looks really, really good, and it's ridiculously quick. So that's how I'm going to do this. We're going to start with the dark silver, which is broadsword silver, and we're going to be applying that to all the silver bits remaining, which is his big ass gun, his little ass gun, and then his kind of like headset thing, except leaving his chin strap clear because we're going to use a lighter silver just to touch that up and make it look jazzier. Last little bit to paint now, just using the last 2 speed paint metallics, and I do not know for the life of me what this is. This little skull in a little box that he keeps on him, but we're going to use Horde Bronze, which is a bronze really, but it seems like quite a deep dark gold, so I'm going to use that for the box and the skull. Then I'm going to use Hoplite Gold, which is normally the dark gold, but it's a lot lighter than this bronze, and that's just to do the padlock that's attached to this. Like I said, I do not know what any of this bit means, but a little bit of gold, a little bit of light gold, job's done. And with that, we are completely finished. Guys, I've been waiting for this for a long time. Holy White wasn't white enough for me. Apothecary White wasn't white enough for me. Blinding Light might have just got there, just getting in just enough brightness. Now, I did cheat spaghetti it and dry brush it up a little bit because it is grey. Essentially, that's how white speed paints work. Yeah, this is a lot of flat panels and it's going to sit and be a little bit grey. But, guys, let's just remember, some people like their white scars a little bit grey. Some people like them bright white, and this little piggy likes them done really quickly, and that is definitely something that speed paints help you achieve. Loving a bunch of these colours. A lot of them were from the new Speed Paint 2.0 range, which I believe I'm now happy and able to paint a white scar in well under an hour. Thank you all ever so much for watching. If you'd like to see any other of the chapters, let us know in the comments below. And also, yeah, just let us know what you think of the white. Is it good enough for a very quick speed paint job? Thank you all ever so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.
Why is it in water?